Chinese lunar probe has successfully taken off from the far side of the moon to start its journey back to Earth.
China's lunar probe has landed, carrying samples from an unexplored far side of the moon.
China's Chang'e 6 lunar probe's on its way back to Earth after collecting rock and soil samples from the far side of the moon.
China's newest discovery from the far side of the moon. China's Chang'e 6 probe pierced the silence of the South Pole Aitken Basin, one of the oldest, deepest craters in the entire solar system. After 53 days of autonomous navigation, drilling, and extraction, the probe returned home carrying something humanity had never held in its hands before: lunar soil and rock from the dark side of the moon. What's buried beneath that alien crust isn't just dusty minerals. It's a ticking time bomb of global competition. Inside those samples were 3 shocking discoveries: usable water ice, rare compounds unknown to science, and the most game-changing of them all, helium-3. If you've never heard of helium-3, imagine a future where fusion energy powers entire cities without waste, without carbon, and without fear of meltdown. Earth has barely any of it. The far side of the moon, it's drenched in it. The implications are enormous. This isn't just a scientific achievement, it's a geopolitical earthquake. Chang'e 6 wasn't just exploring, it was prospecting. Until now, the moon was thought of as a dead rock. Strategic, yes, for Mars launches, communications, and national pride. But not valuable. Not in a way that could change energy markets, military strategies, or even the laws of space ownership. Now, that's all in question. Because the South Pole Aitken Basin, the landing site of Chang'e 6, is more than 2,500 kilometers wide and 8 kilometers deep. That's not just a crater. That's a vault of secrets layered beneath billions of years of cosmic history. And now, thanks to China, one that's partially unlocked. The first secret: water, usable, extractable, frozen in the shadowy craters where sunlight hasn't touched for millions of years. Melt it, split it into hydrogen and oxygen, and you have not only breathable air, but rocket fuel. The second: unusual silicates and metallic oxides, compounds that scientists say might revolutionize everything from space electronics to radiation shielding. But the third, helium-3, is the crown jewel. Imagine a material that could feed fusion reactors without radiation byproducts. No meltdown risk, no nuclear waste, no greenhouse gases. A teaspoon of helium-3 could generate more energy than tons of coal. And China now has proof it exists in high concentrations, embedded in lunar soil on the far side, a side no other nation has ever touched with such precision. Suddenly, the moon isn't a blank slate. It's a battleground of opportunity. And the silence from NASA? It's not confidence, it's concern. Because Chang'e 6 didn't just collect samples. It showcased something else: unmatched capability, precision landing, autonomous sample drilling, real-time AI feedback, flawless return trajectory, all done robotically at a fraction of the cost of a human crew. This level of robotic mastery means China can operate continuously, without pause for politics or public opinion. While others debate ethics and treaties, China is laying the foundations of a lunar supply chain. And it all began with a scoop of dust from the moon's most mysterious terrain. That dust may look gray, but in the right hands, it glows gold. At first glance, the moon's far side seems like a lunar wasteland, cratered, desolate, and permanently hidden from Earth's view. But from China's perspective, it's something far more valuable: a tactical blind spot in plain sight. While the United States has focused most of its lunar ambitions on the near side, where radio communication is easy and political fanfare is guaranteed, China quietly set its sights on the hidden half. And with Chang'e 6, they didn't just visit it, they conquered it. Here's why that matters. Unlike the near side, the far side is shielded from Earth's electromagnetic interference. That means it's the best location in the solar system for deep space radio telescopes. Observatories built there could peer further into the universe than anything we've ever constructed, listening to whispers from the Big Bang or scanning for alien signals with perfect clarity. But science is only one side of the story. The far side of the moon is also a prime military and surveillance outpost. With no line of sight to Earth, any infrastructure set up there is automatically harder to detect, track, or sabotage. Space defense analysts believe it could eventually host encrypted communications hubs, stealth satellites, or even kinetic weapons platforms. And here's the twist. Because of a legal loophole in the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, no country owns the moon, but countries can control infrastructure built there. This means that whoever builds the first permanent base, whoever lays the first foundation of a lunar network, sets the rules. And that's exactly what Chang'e 6 was designed to do. See, this wasn't just a science mission. It was a dress rehearsal for colonization. Chang'e 6 demonstrated China's ability to land with pinpoint accuracy in uncharted territory, communicate via an independent satellite relay, Queqiao-2, bypassing Earth-based systems, conduct autonomous operations in real-time launch, and return complex payloads safely to Earth. It's not just that China did what no one else could. It's how quietly they did it, and they're not stopping there. Chang'e 7 is already slated to explore lunar caves and resource sites, while Chang'e 8 will begin testing construction tech for moon bases using 3D printing, local soil, and AI robots. In short, China isn't playing the moon game like the US did in the 60s, with flags and astronauts. They're playing long-term infrastructure chess, and the far side is their queen. While NASA is still planning Artemis crewed missions, China is quietly rehearsing how to own the real estate of the 21st century: space. And here's the kicker. By the time the world wakes up to what China's built, it may be too late to catch up. Because the far side of the moon isn't just hidden from Earth. It's also hiding China's greatest advantage. Buried beneath the gray dust of the moon lies a substance so rare, so potent, and so potentially revolutionary, it makes oil look like an antique. It's called helium-3, and China may have just positioned itself to control the world's future energy supply. Helium-3 isn't just rare. It's nearly non-existent on Earth. Traces can be found in nuclear weapons and reactors, but in quantities so minuscule, it's impractical. On the moon, however, it's a different story. For billions of years, the solar wind has bombarded the lunar surface, embedding this rare isotope into the regolith, especially on the far side. And now, for the first time in history, Chang'e 6 has brought that potential gold mine back to Earth. So what is helium-3, really? It's an isotope of helium that can fuel nuclear fusion, the same process that powers the sun. Unlike traditional nuclear energy, fusion with helium-3 creates no radioactive waste, no meltdown risk, and no carbon emissions. It's clean, powerful, and incredibly efficient. Just 25 tons of helium-3, enough to fill a single space shuttle cargo bay, could power the entire United States for 1 year. Let that sink in. In an era where nations are scrambling for clean energy alternatives, the idea that the moon could become the Saudi Arabia of fusion power is no longer science fiction. It's becoming a geopolitical reality. And guess who got there first? Not the US, not Russia, not the European Space Agency. China. According to early analysis of the Chang'e 6 samples, the concentration of helium-3 in the South Pole Aitken Basin exceeds previous estimates by a significant margin. In plain terms, the mother lode is real, and China's got the coordinates. But here's where things get even more strategic. Extracting helium-3 from lunar soil isn't just about digging. It requires specialized drilling tech, thermal extraction, and AI-controlled filtration systems, all of which were tested and refined during the Chang'e missions. While other countries theorize, China is operationalizing. They've already developed autonomous robotic systems capable of analyzing lunar layers in real time, selecting soil with the highest helium-3 potential, and drilling with minimal waste. And they're not stopping at retrieval. China is also investing heavily in fusion research, with several domestic labs working on helium-3 reactors. The goal? Vertical integration, from mining to refinement to energy production. If they succeed, China won't just have the ability to fuel their nation for centuries. They'll own the global energy future. Imagine a world where Western nations are dependent on Chinese lunar shipments of helium-3 just to keep their cities running. And remember this, helium-3 isn't just a power source. It's a weaponized commodity in the economic sense. Whoever controls it controls who gets clean energy and who doesn't. The implications go far beyond energy independence. Fusion-powered satellites, spacecraft, or even military installations could revolutionize how wars are fought and economies are built. And it all starts with a few kilograms of moon dust, now sitting in a lab in Beijing. The era of oil wars may be ending, but the age of lunar energy dominance is just beginning, and China just lit the fuse. While the world marvels at China's scientific achievement, few are asking the most important question. What's next? Because Chang'e 6 wasn't just a mission to collect rocks. It was a test run for colonization. Let that settle for a moment. This wasn't a flag-planting stunt. It was a proof of concept for a far more audacious plan, turning the moon into a permanent industrial outpost, one that China controls from orbit to regolith. It all starts with infrastructure. Hidden deep in official statements and white papers from China's space agency is a roadmap that stretches far beyond 2030. A multi-phase colonization blueprint that includes autonomous mining stations, solar-powered research labs, and even plans for a manned lunar base near the South Pole Aitken Basin, precisely where Chang'e 6 landed. Coincidence? Not a chance. That basin isn't just rich in helium-3. It's also one of the most stable, sunlit regions on the moon, with extended periods of daylight for solar energy, and deep craters that may contain frozen water, a resource essential for life support, fuel production, and agriculture. In other words, perfect real estate for the first lunar city. And while other countries debate regulations and lunar ethics, China is already laying the groundwork. Using 3D printing robotics, artificial intelligence, and modular construction, their next-gen missions, including Chang'e 7 and 8, aim to build the base layer by layer, starting with unmanned habitats, and later transitioning to human crews. And here's the part that should truly alarm the rest of the world. They're building this without asking permission. In 2020, China refused to join the US-led Artemis Accords, a diplomatic agreement designed to ensure peaceful and cooperative lunar development. Instead, China formed its own coalition with Russia and several global South partners, quietly drafting what some call the Beijing Accords, an alternative framework that redefines how space resources can be claimed and exploited. The implications? Massive. Under international law, no nation can claim the moon. But there is a loophole. If you build there, if you extract there, if you occupy there, you can effectively control that territory without officially owning it. That's precisely what China's doing. With each robotic lander and sample return, they're building a legal and logistical case for de facto sovereignty. And the more infrastructure they place, the harder it becomes for any other nation to challenge their presence. This isn't just about moon rocks. It's about staking a claim, silently, efficiently, and with long-term intent. Today, it's a sample return mission. Tomorrow, it's a solar field. Next year, it's a processing plant. And by 2035, it could be a fully operational Chinese lunar colony, harvesting resources, fueling spacecraft, and rewriting the rules of space ownership. And here's the kicker. No one can stop them. Because while America debates budgets and timelines, China is already building the future, 238,000 miles away. The moon is no longer a symbol of peace and wonder. It's a strategic asset, a battleground of quiet colonization. And China may have already won the first round. The world watched flashy rockets and billionaire space races. China moved in silence. The US and its allies were fixated on low Earth orbit, satellite networks, private tourism, and commercial platforms. Meanwhile, China launched Chang'e 6, not with fanfare, but with focus. No live streams, no grand speeches, just quiet precision. And by the time the world noticed, the game had already changed. This wasn't just a science mission. It was a strategic checkmate, disguised as exploration. Let's break that down. While NASA collaborated with SpaceX and ESA to plan lunar partnerships, China built a self-reliant lunar ecosystem, tightly controlled, vertically integrated, and overseen by the military. No international cooperation, no shared data, no distractions. And that silence, it was deliberate. China's space playbook is ripped straight from the art of war. Win without fighting. And they did, because nobody even knew a fight was happening. Every step was calculated. From mission planning to execution, China kept its intentions under wraps, avoiding global debates, bypassing legal scrutiny, and staying off diplomatic radars. While the West hosted space conferences and live broadcasts, China focused on results. And here's where it gets serious. Chang'e 6 wasn't just about bringing back lunar rocks. It demonstrated pinpoint landing capability, autonomous navigation, and deep space coordination, all of which have military dual-use applications. Imagine a country that can land a probe on the far side of the moon with centimeter-level accuracy. Now imagine what it could do with orbital weapons or hypersonic payloads. This wasn't just a scientific triumph. It was a proof of power. And the West? It missed it. Now intelligence agencies are scrambling to reassess China's real space doctrine. Because here's the truth. While others focused on headlines, China focused on hegemony. They didn't seek applause. They didn't seek approval. They simply acted. And with one mission, China became the only nation in history to return samples from the moon's far side, a region untouched, unexplored, and rich in untapped resources. That alone gives them a scientific, technological, and strategic edge. But the most alarming part, no one stopped them. Not because they couldn't, but because they weren't even watching. The US thought the space race was about innovation, but China knew it's about execution. While others chased headlines, China wrote the next chapter in total silence. They didn't need permission. They didn't ask for allies. They didn't wait for consensus. They just did it. And now, the world must ask, are we even in the race anymore? Or are we just catching up to a game that's already been won? Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. If this opened your eyes to the real space power plays happening right now, like, subscribe, and share this video. We're uncovering the silent wars behind the stars. And this is just the beginning. Stay tuned. Stay alert. And remember, while we look up at the moon in awe, someone else may already own the ground beneath it.